Wysteria. Energy. Twister. Hello everyone and welcome back to chapter 3 of The Shadow. We're now moving on to Terry's story. I had no choice. I threw Sally out of the window. 30 years together, and none of it was good. It wasn't how I'd expected things to be when I reached 50, having to listen to her talking to that imaginary thing in her head. But even when I punished her, it never went away. Starving her was good for Sally because she lost all that weight. But when I stopped her from watching all those terrible TV shows, she couldn't admit it was better for her. I mean, which intelligent person spends their time watching Gogglebox and The Crown? And when she wasn't doing that, Sally was reading trash like The Da Vinci Code or 50 Shades of Grey. I wouldn't have minded if she'd been like the woman in that book, but she was never interested in sex. Because of her beliefs, I thought she was saving herself for after the marriage, but I was fooling myself. So I guess it was Sally's fault I had to get the strap out and lock her away. I blame it on her upbringing. I never liked parents, and I know the feeling was mutual. Sally told me what it was like for her as a kid, how her mum and dad built her daily life around a church schedule. Yeah, that's all it was for her. Thursday afternoons, served practice, confessions were on Saturdays, which she couldn't miss, or else she'd been forbidden from the Sunday communion. Her relationship with God was more important than her career, well-being, education and family, and it was more important than our marriage. And because of the voice in her head, Sally's parents convinced her of the thing that eventually destroyed us. The voice in my head is a demon, she told me on the day after our wedding, and it has possessed me my entire life. I didn't believe her at first, thinking she was using it as an excuse to defy me. But even after I punished her, she never changed her story. She was always talking to the other voice. I asked her, she said, if I don't, it will control me, and if it wants me to do terrible things. What terrible things? I said. She wouldn't tell me at first, but she wilted once I took the strap to her back. It tells me to kill people, Sally said, to torture them first, but then kill lots of people. It screams at me every minute of the day to do these things. I knew she was mad then. Most of all, it wants to kill you. By then, I stopped listening to her protests against me touching her, so instead, I did what I wanted, when I wanted, and I never let her out of the flat. I wondered why she never complained or fought back against the imprisonment. When I was at work, I had to make sure she couldn't get out, but she could have shouted to a neighbour, or even opened the window. I pushed her out to call for help. Then I understood why she hadn't attempted to leave me. If she was imprisoned in that flat, so was the demon. So it was good for a long time. Her strict upbringing had taught her to be subservient to her husband, so I got everything I wanted. I didn't need to use force then, but I enjoyed doing it every once in a while. But then I met somebody else. And it was in the same block of flats. She was rich, a wealthy widow. Divorce was out of the question. Sally would never have agreed to it, no matter how much I beat her. So she had to go out of the window. Even before she went, I think she knew it was better for her as well. At least the demon would be gone then. Yeah, it were a good thing for everyone all around. Then we are now on to The Shadow's story. I've lived more than 1,000 lives. All I have to do is crawl under the skin and settle into that heart. Once I'm inside, and my dark fingers are massaging those 4 chambers, there's no way to get rid of me. I can sneak into any human. It's impossible to stop me. But the perfect vessel is a newborn child. Then I live in the heart and grow with it. I have no control over them then because the body is too young. But my strength and power increase as a baby grows. Slithering into an adult is quicker, but they can deny my influence if their will is strong. And it's never as satisfactory as controlling a child and growing with them. It's a slow process, like hibernation, but worth it. It's different in every child, but complete control usually comes around the age of 6 or 7. I've waited in that hospital for too long, trying to find the perfect family. It's essential to get the right parents. You don't want the ones who smother their kids with love. Hate fuels me, and I need it early on, when the vessel is young, so it has to be a mother and father who will make their child suffer. It's easy to spot in the parents' eyes. There are plenty of those types of parents around. That's how I chose Sally, from seeing the intolerance in a parent's eyes. But it was a terrible misjudgment. I slipped inside her heart easy enough, but I'm as weak as I ever get in those early stages of the baby's life. So once I realised the mistake I'd made, it was too late to get out. I had to wait until she reached the right age. That came on her 7th birthday, as did the realisation I'd made another colossal misjudgment. Sally was too strong for me. I couldn't control her, and she wouldn't let me go. Her harsh upbringing had given her the strength to deny me, no matter how many times I whispered in her mind I was doing no use. She trapped me in her heart, so all I could do was work on him, the husband. But of course, he was a man after my own heart. Even so, it took me years, until he threw me out of that window. I was confused at first, to be free after so long, but I could sense flesh vessels around me. They were adults, but it didn't matter. It was all about selecting the right one. But I had little time. I think I made the correct choice for now. I can always change into a different one later. Babies are off the list for a while. I need to revel in my freedom and enjoy myself. Still, there's one thing I have to do before anything else. It's time to visit Sally's husband and teach him how the other half lives. Then, after a few days of torture, I'm sure I'll be back to my usual self. Then I'll go looking for one of you. The end. And that's the end of the shadow. But like I say, there's many more books from the author, and I'll leave them in the description so that you can go check it out. Thank you for listening, and many blessings.
Wysteria, energy, twister.